Miracle. They have the La Tortuga shirts. Obviously, we like the basketball stuff. Use a promo code YouBetcha to get free shipping on any sized order. And you're probably going to want to order a lot of stuff. They have pretty much every sport represented. They have special runs. They have Eddie Rosario autographed baseballs. They have a hockey stick plunger. I know you need one of those. They have blade shades that are really cool. Check out sodastick.com, promo code YouBetcha for free shipping on any sized order, and get lots of stuff. They do really cool stuff. Amir Coffey, do you think he's ready for the NBA?
I don't think so yet.
I agree with you.
I don't think that he might be a late second-round pick, but I would not be surprised at all if he goes through the process and gets a grade like, look, you're a fringe second rounder, maybe at that. I think he's shown flashes of potentially eventually being an NBA player, or certainly someone who can be successful in Europe and things like that. But I think he's got a lot more development to his game that needs to happen before he's going to get that chance. And the other thing that he's going to come up against is he is a little bit older player now. And so what you need from, if you're going to be a junior, senior going out into the NBA, you need a super polished game like Keita Bates-Diop. And look, Keita was the Big Ten Player of the Year at Ohio State. Long, rangy, can in a lot of ways says, for where the modern NBA is going, that's the kind of player that you need on your team. And he had an established pedigree of really good performances to market, still slid all the way midway into the second round. So that's all to say, and it was mostly because, look, he's a little older. Like, is he going to be able to is there as much upside for him as there are for other players? Now, the Timberwolves are ecstatic that they got him. He looks like a real player that can help for a long, long time. But that's what these guys are up against in the draft. That's why, a Josh Okogie, who's 19, 20 years old, is going with not near the pedigree, is going much higher than a guy like KBD. So I think that's what Amir is going to see in his evaluation, and what I'm hopeful that he just decides to come back, play one more year, and really try to have a Big Ten Player of the Year type season, which is, I think, absolutely a reasonable goal for him. And if he can do that, then maybe that gets you into the higher second round, end of the first round type of discussion, and gets you into a good situation. I don't think that it's going to be there for him right now otherwise.
I think he needs to be stronger to play the wing. I think he needs to have much better three-point shooting, technique and better results to play outside. He needs a better handle if he wants to play point guard. I just think you see so many players in college who are kind of tweeners. It's like Jordan Murphy was a great college basketball player, and he's not tall enough to play inside in the NBA, and he's not skilled enough to play outside in the NBA.
Right.
That's the way it is. It's brutal, but it's the way it is. So I think Amir really needs to develop more skill and probably get a little stronger. And hey, as someone who likes seeing good basketball locally, I'd love to see him come back and headline what might be a really good team next year for the Gophers. Let's remember, even if you're having lunch, if you need to have lunch at your workplace, Bite Squad will deliver to you. If you decide that you don't want to do dishes, you don't want to drive, you want to eat restaurant food without having the restaurant experience, you don't want to park, pay for parking, whatever else, we want to have a couple drinks and you don't have to drive, order Bite Squad, use the promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery free. But obviously, it's only going to work once after that. Order it because it fits into your life well. It's easy. If you have kids, you can order them a pizza. You can order any kind of food you want. And they have a member program. Pay $5.99 a month. Free delivery from anywhere within a 4-mile radius per month. Bite Squad, food for your mood delivered. They make life and eating very easy. So let's do a Twitter question here from John Grigg. I feel like most Timberwolves fans are doom and gloom. Understandably, but we all said no way Len foots the bill for Tibbs. He did, turned out poorly. Now we see again he's big game hunting for a POBO. I think he foots the bill again. What do you say?
Yeah, look, first of all, to get to the first part of his question, a lot of fans are skeptical, pessimistic about this process, and rightfully so. They have had 4 hires. This is their 4th hire of a leader of a basketball department in the last 10 years. The Flip thing obviously had its tragic end that he couldn't help for himself, but like the process for David Kahn was bad. The process for Tom Thibodeau was bad. And so I understand why the public has lost faith in this franchise to execute the right process and go about it. But to his point, I don't think it's not a money spending type of a thing. Like Glenn has proven that he will spend money when he believes that it's for the best interest of the franchise, with Tibbs, with Scott Layden, who's making $2 million plus a year, with the practice facility, with Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. I mean, he spends and spends and spends. Like, that's not an issue. And I do think that if he finds a guy that he really likes in this POBO search, that says, I'm not going to come for $2 million. I need $3 or $4 million. Like, I think he would do that. I don't think price or cost is going to be an issue here. And what I wrote about today at The Athletic was that for the first time, there is a real process here. He has CEO Ethan Casson helping lead that process. He has several other people he's leaning on in the organization to kind of help move this thing forward and identify the right people and ask the right questions. And so by just simply by identifying some of the people who have already been named in reporting, it shows that this is a different kind of a search, that there is logic to it, that there is reason to it, that there is a process behind it. Now, again, they could pick I think any of the 3 guys that have been already named, I think would do a really good job here. They might come in and not do a good job. Like, that's a possibility. But when you look back and evaluate 8-9 years from now, this whole thing, you will be able to say, I see why they got to this point. I see why they made this decision. And look, yeah, Glenn has taken a lot of arrows, and a lot of it is just because of the lack of success on the team, and that comes with the territory. There's no doubt. But he will spend. He is very well liked, and this job is coveted because he does stay out of the way in general of the people who he puts in charge. And so he has those things going for him. I think, so this whole process is about starting to regain the public trust in the franchise. And people inside it know that that's a problem that they face right now. And you can only start with step 1. And so I think step 1 is a step in the right direction, with many more steps to go before fans can say, okay, they've got this. This is more of what I expect from a professional franchise.
Let's do one more Twitter question. Remember, bitesquad.com, promo code TalkNorth, sodastick.com, promo code YouBetcha, and TSR Injury Law if you ever need their particular kind of help. Remember, they help the people who are injured. They're not representing drunk drivers or people who do the injury. They are representing the people who get injured. 612 TSR time. From Steve Horan, one of the explanations we hear for the pathetic Wolves defense is poor communications on defense. Why is that so hard, and how did it get worse under Ryan when he had such an emphasis on communications?
Look, it's a great question. That is something that plagues bad defensive teams all over the league, bad communication. And I think a lot of the reason that they have poor communication is that there is a lot of these guys don't know exactly what to be doing. They've run different systems. They ran Tibbs' system for 2.5 years. Ryan made some tweaks to it, and nobody has any confidence or certainty in where they're supposed to be and how they're supposed to be executing the coverages. And so with uncertainty comes a lack of confidence and comes an unwillingness or inability to communicate that way. And so the idea long term will be to reestablish defensive principles that get guys to A, buy in, and B, be comfortable in their assignments so that Cat can be like, hey, no, I got this side, you got that, and be able to talk and go about it with confidence and with an assuredness that they understand, A, that what they're supposed to be doing, and B, that what they are doing will work. And so I think all of that kind of factors into the poor communication. The other thing is that factors into the poor communication and the poor defense under Ryan as a whole is they didn't have half of their team. And 5 of their top 10 rotation guys were out, including their best defensive player. And yes, that can sound like an excuse or a cop-out, but that was reality. I mean, you're talking about shuffling guys in like Cam Reynolds on the fly, C.J. Williams on the fly, Jared Bayless dusting him off, pulling him out of mothballs and giving him big minutes. You had all of these guys that were just not used to playing together either. So there was zero familiarity with each other and chemistry with each other on the court. I think one of the interesting things that we saw late was that when on the few occasions when Cat and Gorgie played together, it went pretty well because they had such a backlog of experience playing together before Taj Gibson came around, and they just said, they fell back into their habits and their familiarity, and I think that was a big part of what made that have at least a little bit of success.
All right. Well, a TV just kicked on in our office. I don't know why that happened. I guess we're haunted, but I think we've done enough damage for one day. We do appreciate our sponsors and our listeners. We'll be back next week. We'll try to keep the TV off next week, though.